Welcome back everyone to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. As you're fully aware, over the past few weeks we have been looking at the evidence that was brought forward during the course of the most recent trial in Dublin in respect of the two men who were charged and were on trial for the robbery at Lordship Credit Union. A vast quantity of the evidence brought forward was evidence which we had detailed during the course of Aaron's campaign. And as we have mentioned before, not one scintilla of the evidence and the details we have brought forward during the course of Aaron's campaign, not one scintilla of it was contradicted during the course of the trial. And also we had the extraordinary situations where we had new evidence come forward, new evidence found by the defence that obviously is vital in the ongoing case that will come shortly in respect of Aaron. And as you know, we do like to interact with those who support the campaign and follow the campaign, and we try to interact and answer all questions. So we've been able to marry those two aspects together, and this evening we're going to look at a question. I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement from loyal campaign supporter Mr. Big Stones. And you can see his question or statement here. Strange the way the Garda got every aspect of this case wrong. And all the witnesses are liars. Not even one thing did they get right. Strange that, Tony. Well, at long last, Mr. Big Stones, we can see that you understand fully the corruption and collusion that was the investigation into the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue and the trial of Aaron Brady. So there's been a lot of very strange aspects, and what I'd like to do now is I've randomly just picked out some pointers from our stock of videos and video clips and pictures, and we'll run through them and we'll see how and where the strangeness arises, Mr. Big Stones. First one we're going to look at here is very vital information that came forward during the course of the recent trial, and it shows how the Irish authorities on Garda Síochána and the DPP tried to hide vital evidence. And as the slide you're looking at here, that is the Ballymascanlon roundabout, and a witness came forward, and indeed if we look at Mr. Big Stone's his question or statement and underneath here, he says all the witnesses were liars. We never said all the witnesses were liars. A number of witnesses were liars, we have no doubt about that. Daniel Cahill, we said, is a liar. Molly Staunton is a liar. And a number of members of Garda Síochána who give evidence. Senior Investigating Officer Mark Phillips, Senior Investigating Officer Mr. Pat Marry, whom we've proven on numerous occasions was a liar. Detective Garda Garrett Kenna, Detective Vincent Jackson, to name but a few. But there were a large number of ordinary everyday people who came forward as witnesses to tell what they had seen. And we never said all the witnesses were liars, Mr. Big Stone. Again, an exaggeration, a broad stroke on your behalf, and I think you should be a little bit more specific, because we do try to be specific with Aaron's campaign, and we go into detail. And as you can see from the statement you've made there, broad strokes are very, very dangerous. But maybe it's an indication on how Mr. Pat Marry, Mr. Big Stones, actually conducted the investigation. So we look at the details of this new witness. He actually was a new witness. On the night of the murder and robbery, this gentleman left Dundalk Racecourse, approached the Ballymascanlon roundabout, and he seen a Volkswagen Passat coming round the roundabout the wrong way. And which way did the Passat go? It went towards Dublin on the M1. So the whole storyboard created by Lorcan Stain, Garrett Kenna and all those in the incident room in Fort Apache is rendered null and void from that one piece of information that we know happened. And you can see there we have two Passats. The ludicrous suggestion that it was a blue Passat that took part in the robbery, when the two people The only two people who seen the car clearly, Detective Joe Ryan and credit union worker Mary, said the car was dark grey. Now that is very strange. I think we would have to say Mr. Big Stones. Very strange indeed. Just those two simple points on that one slide renders the whole storyboard absolutely useless and a tissue of lies. This picture here, I'm sure most of you have seen it before, and it's a picture of myself and Caroline with Aaron in Portlaoise prison. And again, every picture tells a story of 1,000 words. It's very simple. Detective Joe Ryan told us that the man who shot his colleague was 6'1", 6'2", or 6'3". Aaron Brady is 5'7". And isn't it very, very strange, Mr. Big Stones or Mr. Mary, whatever your correct name is, isn't it very strange that there is someone in jail for a crime committed by a man that is 6'1" or 2", and the person in jail is 5'7"? Not alone is it strange, it's pathetic and extremely, extremely worrying. We have more new evidence that came forward, and this was the sighting of suspect A's car, James Flynn's car, in Crossmaglen Square when the same gentleman was supposed to be in the car park at Lordship Credit Union. And Garda James Carlin identified the car as possibly James Flynn's BMW in the square across Crossmaglen at the same time as the suspect A was supposed to be in the Credit Union car park. Now that is very strange, and again it beggars belief. Then we have a situation where there was great emphasis put on the silence of the phones, and there was only 3 persons' phones silent. Okay, we are fully aware of this. We went through the silence, and this has an amazing amount of strange ramifications, because again we're short of people in the gang, the fictional gang created by DPP and Garda Síochána. And then we've seen the silence charts that these phones are supposed to be silent, and this was an unusual, very unusual situation. When we went to court in the last couple of months, it realised it was more usual for these people's phones to be silent at that time in the evening, at the time of the murder and robbery at Lordship Credit Union. And then we have a very strange situation where we had Senior Prosecution Counsel, Mr. Brendan Graham, during the early part of Aaron's trial, stood up in court and said that they would not be using phone cell site analysis, which is obviously information from cell mass, which tells us where phones are. So Mr. Brendan Graham very strangely told us that because of the mountains and Carlingford Lough, that this information wasn't reliable. Now it's very strange that such a very clever, intelligent prosecutor could talk such bullshit and tell what I am saying now is Brendan Graham was telling lies when he said that. Because Brendan Graham was fully aware of other major trials that use cell site analysis in the exact same area. Now, do you not think that is very strange? And we marry that together with the knowledge that Mr. Stain must have had, Garda Kenna must have had, and Mr. Big Stone's Pat Mary must have known that Brendan, James and Aaron's phones were silent more often than not at the same time in the evenings for those 26 days or 28 days in January 2013. Isn't that strange? How these people tried to make a story, concoct a story out of utter lies. Now that is strange. Then we move to the burn site. So here we have a vehicle that, according to the storyboard, was on fire at 10:15 down between Cady and Newtown Hamilton in Northern Ireland on Friday the 25th of January 2013. So this vehicle is on fire sometime between 10 p.m. and 10:15 p.m. according to Lokenstein and Garda. And lo and behold, they bring in another witness to say they seen the same vehicle at 10:30 p.m. Now that's not strange, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. So how can that be explained? Then we go to Aaron's alibi. Here we have Brendan Cummins, I think his name is. He's a journalist with RTE and with a number of newspapers here in the Republic of Ireland. Now, Mr. Cummins, as you can see, that's a picture of him at the site where Aaron was at the time Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue lost his life. Aaron told Senior Investigating Officer Mark Phillips and Senior Detective Jim McGovern off the record that is where he was at the time of the Modern robbery. Now, Aaron told them this on the 5th and 6th of February 2013. 10 days after the Modern robbery, Aaron went in voluntarily and told them off the record where he was. These people, under the tutelage of Senior Investigating Officer Mr. Pat Marry. Now, how stupid could them three men have been, Marry, McGovern and Phillips, that didn't send someone to that yard? And then Brendan Graham, the man who was concerned about Carlingford Lough in the mountains, tried to tell us that Aaron Brady never gave an alibi. It's so twisted and warped, Strange comes nowhere near explaining what these people are capable of and what they done during the course of Aaron's trial. Go back then to the burn site. Again, an ordinary, everyday witness, a farmer, standing not 10 yards from the road, seen a vehicle come up his road, up past his farmyard, heading towards the burn site. And he describes it quite clearly that this vehicle had blue lights. It was a BMW. It had bright blue lights. He highlighted this numerous times during the course of a statement. And the vehicle was very loud. It simply could not be James Flynn's car. It simply cannot be Suspect A's car. Brendan Graham knew that. Lokenstein knew that. Garda Kennan knew that. Senior Investigating Officers Marry and Phillips must have known that. Beggy must have known it. Christy Mangan must have known it. Any of them, Mohan must have known it. Anyone with a brain sitting round the incident room table should have known that cannot be Suspect A's car. Because it's simply not his car. Not to talk of all the inaccuracies with times and cars driving up and down the road that are already on fire. It's just ludicrous. It's not strange. Then we move to our friend Mr. Cahill. Now his situation is very strange. And we have a situation where, would you believe that in 2016, we think it is, Homeland Security arrive at Mr. Cahill's apartment looking for this man here, Dean Evans, who was on the run at the time, and subsequently he was caught in Spain, I do believe. He was extradited back to Ireland, and he admitted the murder of Peter Butterley in a car park in County Meath. So Homeland Security are looking for Dean Evans, who's on the run for this murder, and they go to Daniel Cahill's apartment. Daniel Cahill is an illegal immigrant with obvious ties to paramilitary illegal groups here in Ireland. And yet Daniel Cahill still remained in the United States of America until 2018, when he suddenly became the star witness against our son Aaron Brady. And we have that situation with this man here, Robin Schiller, and numerous other journalists portrayed Daniel Cahill as some sort of a hero. Well, we do not accept that in any way, shape or form. We say he is a perjurer. He told lies. He was caught with steroids and marijuana. He told a tissue of lies about hiding in an attic for 6 hours while NYPD, Homeland Security, FBI, immigration removal officers all sat down in underneath him while he was in his attic hiding, had tea, had buns and waited till he came out of the attic. What a load of nonsense. Does anybody think that's a wee bit strange? It could be slightly strange. Another picture here of Mr. Pat Marry with his good friend Matt Katsky, Homeland Security Officer. Matt Katsky had his finger stuck in all the pies in America with the layers that was Christopher Morton, Anthony Maguire, Ronan Flynn, Daniel Cahill and Molly Staunton. Up to his neck in it. And then we had a bizarre, not strange, bizarre situation, absolutely bizarre situation, where Matt Katsky was recorded by Suspect A's girlfriend. Suspect A and his girlfriend were in Belfast Airport heading back to America. Matt Katsky approached them and offered all sorts of inducements. Excuse me. Offered all sorts of inducements. Green cards, immunity from prosecution of another ongoing case in America for Suspect A's brother. Now that's strange. Isn't it strange that Judge White would not allow this in as evidence when he was fully aware of the skullduggery of Daniel Cahill and his involvement with the real IRA, drugs and assault in America? Now that's strange. And even stranger. Now look at these two men here in this picture. Pat Marry got up and told the court that he was unaware that his good friend and best mate, Matt Katsky, Marry said under oath that he was unaware that Katsky approached Suspect A in Belfast Airport. So he had an American agent attached to the London Embassy approaching a suspect in Belfast Airport in respect of a crime in the Republic of Ireland. And Pat Marry knew nothing about it. Well, Pat Marry, you're either very fucking stupid or you're a born liar. And I do believe it's a combination of both, Mr. Marry. Because it just holds no water. And again, strange doesn't come anywhere near it. It cannot be explained away in any way, shape or form. Does anyone believe Pat Marry didn't know what Katsky was up to? Because we have to remember, Pat Marry told us himself the whole thing was in disarray. The whole case was a mess at the end of 2016, nearly 4 years later, when he came back to take over the case. And finally, the last one I'm going to put up here is this ridiculous situation where we had a 90-kilometre journey on the night the Passat allegedly used the blue Passat that was stolen at Clogherhead. There's a 90-kilometre round journey and only 6, well, in the original storyboard, there was only 6 CCTV sightings all along the 90-kilometre journey. Now, we know there are other CCTV footages harvested that will prove our truth. But the reason why I've just popped this one up, you can see number 7 there. It's where the BMW went to at 3:35 a.m. on that Wednesday morning. That was hidden by Sergeant Jackson and Garda Kenna. Obviously under the supervision once again of SIO Phillips and SIO retired Marry. They hid it. It was in their initial reports, and when they realised it didn't suit the narrative, it wasn't James Flynn's car, they hid it from the storyboard. So that's just a few bits and pieces we want to run through. There are dozens and dozens and dozens more. So again, Mr. Big Stones, I think we've had enough of your broad strokes and your come with some specifics. Anyone who wants to criticise or ask questions about the campaign, including and especially those involved in the mainstream media here in Ireland. There is a man laying dead. And we spoke in the last video that was brought up by Nicola Tallant, Adrian Donoghue's family. They too, more so than anyone else, are entitled to the truth or entitled to the proper debate. And we have gutter journalists like Nicola Tallant blocking the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign from our Twitter account. Like, how does that make sense? Is that not strange? She has a clear line to all the information, and as is described by the governor of Portlaoise Prison, propaganda. So if Nicola, what's her name? Nicola, I can't think of her second name, it's gone from my mind, or any of the other mainstream journalists, if you want to question our propaganda which is properly entitled Justice for Aaron Brady, that woman, Nicola, whatever you call her, done an expose of 600 words, loads of pictures outside the Mater Hospital of Aaron with the prison officers, and once again, she never mentioned justiceforaaronbrady.com or Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. Why is that? What sort of journalism is that? Is that fair? Is it right? Is it unbiased? It's disgusting. It's not strange, Mr. Big Stones. It's disgusting. So I hope that's answered either your question or your statement. If there's other strange things you want to pick up on, Mr. Big Stones, or indeed any of the other fake accounts, we have no problem. I'll ask you once again, Mr. Big Stones, let's get you and any amount of mainstream journalists, line us up one at a time, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and we'll sit here and do a podcast for that length of time and be questioned on any aspect of this case. And I'll go back before I finish to the families involved who want justice. All the families. And I say to everyone now on this island, the man who shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue is not in prison. This is a serious, serious, serious miscarriage of justice. And it is time that we put forward from the Irish people that Aaron Brady must be released for a crime he had nothing to do with. So thank you for watching, and a big thank you to all those people who do send in messages of support. And please, if you have asked some questions and I haven't asked them, we haven't replied to them, please just pop the question up again, and when we see it the second time, we will answer it for you, any queries anyone has. Just very, very busy at the moment in respect of some of the stuff that's happening in America, so we have to keep on top and abreast of all those developments. So once again, thank you to everyone. Please continue to like, comment and share, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.